could we always keep on going? Quitters never win, but we're always growing. Hey there, big cat, let's chase the highest vibration. Together we'll create a new world, a brand new nation.
Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or messages. Come in! Come on! I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Energies. Up, Big Cat. I insist. May your comings and goings be forever covered by the grace of the Most High. When in doubt, go within. Let's dive right in and unpack. Because you know, bestie, they, them and will never come back to you with a real apology. No, they won't. They are finding out that the juice was not worth the squeeze. And what was the squeeze? Effing around and losing a big cat. Hey, good luck with your life. Excuse me, my small play. Okay, the dice are not playing today, darling dears. You have the energy of a 7. Okay, let's unpack the 7 first. We're going to drop down and get our evil on, darling dears. Okay, you have the energy of a 3, darling dears. The energy of the 3 speaks about conflict and confusion. Someone or someones would love to tongue wrestle with you, darling dears, or possibly even go as far as to tussle in the dust. Yes, baby, a nerve-wracking time for them. They, them, and arguments, quarreling, gossiping, darling. There's the subterfuge bull swanky of it all. Why is this happening? Because your life path is going in another direction, darling dears. I know you're already on your path, but trust and believe, the universe has not finished with you yet, darling dears. The energy of the 4 speaks about what communication, darling dears. You know they're chopping it up by text message. Physical communication, darling dears. It's also a reminder for you, darling dears. If you've got something to be putting out there, make sure that you don't let the grass grow, darling dears. Get those emails done, those text messages, that video, whatever it is that you've got on your menu, your schedule. The energy of the 4 also speaks about what? A love affair. Yes, baby, someone's going into a relationship. That is definitely afoot. But remember, you also have the energy of the 3. What type of person are you getting into a relationship with? As my mother always told me, you see people's faces, but you do not see their heart. Listen, bestie, oi, you better do your research before you invite anyone into your perimeter. Remember, your life is about to what? Life path is about to go in a different direction. Again, darling dears. And these are spirits of confusion coming to take you off the path or bring what? Self-doubt. Good golly and gosh, it's like kryptonite in a big cat's life, darling dears. That big D of doubt. They will want to doubt you, or someone else will be sent, darling dears, for you to doubt your path, doubt your own self, your ideas, your worth, your talent, your gifts. They want you in that box, darling dears, the box that is unescapable. Why? They've put up the walls, darling dears, and their limitation is what they cannot do, darling dears. You must not. Never you forget that, bestie. You are more than a conqueror. More than a conqueror. I've told you this so many times, darling. You must be tired of it. You can't be. I'm not. I know, bestie. It's a lot. Because remember, when divine is going to use someone as an example, as the light to show people that the juice was not worth the squeeze, they will use someone like you, darling dears. Why? Remember, divine used Noah and he was a drunk. Abraham was old. Seth was abused. Rahab was a straight up hell. Job was bankrupt. Jacob was a lying liar. And Lazarus had to come back from the dead, blood. He thought. When divine say yes, you say when, where, and how. Fist bump. Let's carry on, darling dears. The energy of the 7, you could be a life path 7, darling dears. The 7 encumbers the numbers 7, 16, and 25. The 7 is represented by the letters G, P, and Y. The energy of the 7 is ruled by the planet Neptune, and as we all know, Neptune is about delusion. It's about dreams, addictions, darling dears. Neptune is also about spirituality and mysticism. Neptune itself is a oh come on, Case, it's a mutable water planet, darling dears. It also yes, I said escapism, but it also has the other E word, darling dears. What's that? Elusiveness, darling dears. Elusiveness. You wear it so well. People are talking about you like Kaiser Soze. Everybody mention your name, but no one can produce the body. I know, bestie. You move like the original bad girl or bad boy chess player. Remember, I told you that. Okay. The energy of the 7, darling dears, is ruled by Neptune, but it's also ruled by the South Node. The South Node is about your karmic past, darling dears, past lives that your ancestral team could not release themselves from, darling dears. You've been given that bad arsery to what? Heal your lineage. The South Node is also about inborn abilities, darling dears. You did certain things because people in your family did those things until you realize what the F is going on here. Blood, brah, or sistrine. It was madness. Blind leading the blind until you decided to be the one with the eye. And now you are what? A person non grata. But really and truly, darling dears, what they done did they know that the juice was not worth the squeeze. Imagine to push away the one person who has the key to a better life, darling dears. The one person who has chosen to what? Get closer to the Most High rather than seek revenge. The one person who is always on a Lazarus blood. God is using you, bestie. Don't you ever believe yourself to be insignificant. Why do you think they can't apologize? They wouldn't know where to start. It's a whole bushel of fucking ease, blood, brah, or sistrine. Let's carry on, darling dears. So this read is going to be about what? The 7th house, darling dears, the house of one-to-one relationships. Okay? As I was saying, I nearly said, let me pause and I'll be back. This is a live read. I was going to get the planetary energies out. I'm still going to get it out because we need to know what Neptune is serving us today. Okay. Bear with me. I'm a one-woman show, darling dears. I'm moving as quickly as my fingers can. You've got the sacrifice, darling dears. They sacrificed you. You was the sacrificial lamb. Possibly even the butt of all jokes, darling dears. Laughing at all of these things that was going on with you, but you always had that instinct knowing, darling dears. Neptune is the house of psychic, rules Pisces, and Pisces is the house of psychic abilities, darling dears. They put ideas that you used as your own self-undoing, darling dears. It also speaks about confinement. Someone was even possibly put in hospital because of their actions. Listen, I already done the read about messing with the medications, darling dears. But you was meant to learn the occult What's the occult? The unknown. What they tell us not to look at, but yet they use on us on a daily basis with the symbolisms. This is a new beginning, darling dears. Whatever path you are going to now, darling, there's this new direction. It's going to hold you until your old age. This is something that is part of your what? Your mission. Remember, I told you that. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Okay. The 7th house, as I said, is the house of one-to-one relationships. Partnerships could even be a marriage, business partnerships. It also speaks about, cooperative relationships. Could be a friendship, darling dears. Family members, whatever that paradigm is, darling dears. It also is the house of what? Open enemies and lawsuits, darling dears. As well as what? Tongue wrestling, blood. I just told you, babe. They wants to argue, darling dears. Or maybe they're arguing amongst themselves in their mud huts. You're saying, Case, what do you mean? I told you what the mud hut many times, bestie. Look where Diddy lives. Isn't it a mud hut? Look what's going on behind those walls. If they could talk, but the walls don't need to talk, apparently. He got everything on VT, darling dears. He taped his own skullduggeration. The 7th house. Neptune's came through with a 10, darling dears. 10 goes down to a 1. This is the initiation of a new beginning. As I said, your direction is about to change in the most profound way, darling dears. Okay. Get back on track, Case. The partnerships come through the 3 and a 1. We have the energy of the 4, which is already out here, darling dears. The number 4 speaks about manifestation mode, as well as what? Building a new stable foundational structure, a new way of being, darling dears. The structure could be one which is within your mind. It had to be. Remember, many of their actions, darling dears, caused you to create your own self-undoing. You believed what they showed you. Nothing wrong with that, darling dears. I told you many times. I myself was a dummy bat for half of 100, blood. Half of 100. When my elastication on my face used to snap back. Listen, don't let me talk about that. But you know what? Never you ever deny your age, darling dears. Your age is armor. It's a badge of honor. Many people wasn't able to get to our ages. And remember, Steve Jobs. Who was he? The one of the Apple inventor? He said not one penny could give him an extra day, an extra minute, another hour. The money means nothing when you know your end of life is staring you in the face. And some people didn't even know their lives was cut short by someone who didn't see it for them, darling dears. The same ones that are realizing that particular squeeze ain't worth the juice, as they what? Curse their lineage, darling dears. At the top of the dice, you have the double 5, which is a 10, darling dears. It speaks about what? As I said, this new beginning, breaking down to the 1, having completed some kind of cycle. Divine is gifting you with what? A spiritual renewal. Remember, I told you that. Stick a pin in it. The energy of the 7 also, as I said, it's the one-to-one relationships. You expect a visitor or someone you haven't seen in a while, darling dears. Not necessarily at your domicile, because we've already done the what, the and the and made our homes into a Bermuda Triangle. They can't find it. Okay? The energy of the 3 and the 4 speaks about what? Happiness in love, darling dears. So somebody may even be going into a situation where they're going to be happy, but you better make sure you got your third eye on that bitch or Mitch. I don't care who it is. They may even come in holding Jesus and Buddha's hand. And they're saying, trust my brethren. Listen, you still have to find out for yourself, darling. You're a big cat. And knowledge is your go-to move. Fist bump. Knowledge is power. But true power is knowledge applied. Let's get the Oracle Ancestral message. Going to use African Goddess Rising because time is of the essence today. Don't ask me why, because you knew I didn't tell anyone anything, and neither should you. Listen. Oi. I told you, we've come out of the self-undoing. We're not telling anything to no one about nothing. What did I say? The haters are coming out, darling dears, and this is in the multitude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as 6 people, darling dears, not liking this new swag that you have, darling dears. And it's also the energy of what? The monitoring spirits. Those that are what? Monitoring you, darling dears, on your social medias, trying to find out little tidbits. These merchants of slander, darling dears. Why? Because you had some kind of encounter, some kind of relationship, some kind of a union with these people or persons, darling dears. And they are realizing what they done did to you. That particular juice was not worth the squeeze. Base of the deck, darling dears. Had to focus my eye chakras on your worthiness. When you are worthy, you say amen. And you keep it pushing, darling dears. It's not a badge, not something to what? Go out in your ego, darling dears. We don't like the ego. Poor, we spit on that. It's not our amigo. Our ego kept us in paradigms that nearly made us miss our light. It's coming through with the energy of the 14, darling dears. We also have the energy of the 18, which is what? Moon energy. 14 is the temperance, the balance of your earth angelness. It also speaks about what? Being protected, darling dears. It also is telling me that you have to have some kind of patience with something. That's a message for someone. Somebody who's trying to push a situation to come through quicker. Remember, you are already being covered, darling dears. It's already been gifted to you. But it's about the knowledge you pick up along the way until it's in your hands. Remember, I told you that. Fist bump. What's behind that? Because I can't help it. My eyes, they're greedy. We have the energy of an 8. 8 is the number of debt, karma, as well as Skrilla.com, darling dears, the 8th house. And again, this is the marriage house. Somebody is going into union, whether it's a business partnership, a love relationship, or even getting married, a situation that is going to lead to marriage, darling dears. Remember, I told you that, but the 8th house is also another occult house, as is the 12th house, darling dears. Your psychic awakening and your abilities. It's a reminder. Karma is out there for everyone, darling dears. And just because these people or persons are being shown to you, it's still no point even what discussing it. Why? I told you, when we are interrupting our ruminating thoughts, darling dears, waste our time. During my healing path, I started saying things to myself like, because it just takes one thought, mate, and it's like a match has been lit, and you could be gone for hours. By the time you come out, you look like Quasimodo's bestie blood. You're worn out. Anyhow, I said to myself, Case, when I get the first thought, I say, Case, the judge and jury have left the courtroom. The trial is over. No, it didn't work the first time, blood. For those that are answering at the back, right? It didn't work the first time. I kept saying it because I said to myself, I am more than a conqueror. You have to interrupt those arguments that come up in your mind with people that mean nothing to you, darling dears. People that are what? The mask-wearing marauders, because divine is about to give you what you truly desire. Remember, I told you that. This card also looks like the picture of the 3 moons, the 3 goddesses. Okay. And your worthiness, darling dears, you've got the 2 bowls. This looks like Aquarian energy because Aquarius is the water bearer, isn't it? Or am I wrong? I'm never really wrong. Well, sometimes I could be, but I wouldn't tell you that. Why? Because I'm never usually wrong. Listen, oi! Didn't I tell you about the ruminating thoughts? The judge and jury have left the trial. Anyhow. Age of Aquarius we're in, darling dears. I've already done the Age of Aquarius read and the sun, moon, and rising sign that is being affected by it, darling dears. Go and have another eye chakra fill up, darling dears. Why? Because it's going to be in your life for the next 19 years. You have more tools than you actually know that you've actually had a chance to utilize. I said your direction is about to change. Oh yes, they want to apologize, darling dears, but they cannot. In the words of Jocelyn Hernandez, hush, clap, they cannot. Oh no. Let's get some intuitive messages. Limber up the fingers. So we got, you're going to go with green. Heart chakra as well as green of envy, darling dears. Fell off the back end. What's this? What did I say? Listen, they're IFing all what you've got going on, darling. There's rehashing tidbits, trying to call you back in. But this is about balance and duality, darling. Dears, you are being protected. They put you on a difficult journey. But the difficult journey was the best journey you ever went on in your life, darling. Dears. The journey of self-discovery. The journey of self-automation. The journey of what? Finding the Most High. Who's that? Kelly? Hey, Kelly. Kelly Finlay. Make her wave. Just caught my eye. What else is going on? Look at this. Other people. Didn't I tell you that they're doing it? I just told you. I've been telling you. Bestie, oi. Are you paying attention? The other people are paying attention to what did I just call your fresh start, this new path, a different direction, darling dears. Yeah, for some, this is your square one, but your hands are clean. Remember, I told you that. You did not seek revenge. You sought healing and knowledge. Okay, this one's left on the table. Another man and woman, darling dears. And as I said, someone is going into union, or you're about to meet someone who is going to be significant in your life. Whether you give up your groceries is up to you, blood. But like I said many times, bestie, listen, I feel like I'm gonna lose my shiznai. My Tourette's will come out. Listen, my hairline has got it. I'm sitting there scratching my hairline. It's getting itchy. All right. You can go and do what you want. You have free will and free choice. However, you research them, darling dears. You get them digits, birth natal chart date, darling dears. If you get the time, that'd be fabulous. Find out their age. Their age you can look on a perfection chart. It's on a 12-year cycle that we all go through. You'll see what house they're in, blood. Yeah. Because if they're going through a 12th house year, listen, they're going through a lot of things. They're going through their DNS, their dark night of the soul. They may be having some kind of addiction, some kind of low vibing, darling dears. Could be going through divorce because the 12th house encumbers so many things, darling dears. Funerals. They could be an exile from their family. Listen, they could even be a kidnapper. You don't know. You got to find out about the subversion, black. I told you this, darling dears. Knowledge applied is what you get to, darling dears, in life. When you know what's going on. Fist bump. Right. Let's get a deck that I haven't used in a while. All of them are going, pick me. Okay then. Gonna get this one. It's at the back. Yeah, 6 of Pentacles, darling dears. You're about to get something gifted onto you. And the thing about this particular 6 Pentacles, look, it's got the energy of Libra, the 7th house, the house of one-to-one partnerships, as I said. And as I also said, open enemies. Look at the person's eyes, blood. Hey! And look at their eyes in particular. These eyes are what? Yin Sing Paco eyes. This is someone that's got... When you can see the bottom of the irises, darling dears, it means that it's Yin Sing Paco, right? It means that this person's going through tribulations. It could be someone in an abusive situation. It could also be someone who gets unalived. Remember I did it on the Shanquilla Robinson video? I told you about this, bestie. Keep up. Anyhow, when you see someone and their eyes, because regular eyes, you can see the irises on both sides. You don't see all of the top or all of the bottom. So the bottom means suffering, pain, possibly going to be unalived, going through some karmic cycle, blood, right? If you can see the top of their irises, darling dears, this person, you better pick up your pussy. Listen, your pussy, your panani, your futum, your shalong, your eggplant, and run away, blood, because that person is evil on legs. Remember, I told you that. This is like serial killer, darling dears, levels. Yeah. Or they only want to be the serial on you, blood. They're gonna red rum you out. Remember, I told you that this people or person is evil to the core. If you can see the tops of their irises, and I don't mean if their head is down there looking up or looking up, no, blood. When they're looking you dead in the eye. The guy that sings that song, Drift. Yeah, it is Drift. I can hear it in my mind. I don't know if I can do it. Have I got it? Oh, I can't. But you know, look at his video. Look at his eyes. He's been through some things, blood. He has to be very careful over the next 12 months. But anyway, let's carry on, darling dears. You're getting it, darling dears. Some people are going to be meeting True Soul Tribe, darling dears. Cooperation. It also speaks about some form of contract is about to be signed, darling dears. Okay? The seventh house is definitely, if you look at the planets in your seventh house, you'll see what type of issues will arise in your relationships. Remember, I told you that when you come here, you're going to learn astrology, tarot, numerology. If you like it, you're going to learn it by accident. By accident. Let's dive in, darling dears, because time is of the essence. 712, that's an angel number, darling dears. The 7 and 12 goes to a 19, sun energy, being invigorated. Energy of the sun also speaks about travel as well as what? The past, putting it behind you like a ponytail. Look at this line bastado, Knight of Cups, darling dears. Your words, your life, you, everything about you is being bandied around. He's got Scorpio and Libra energy in the reverse. Libra energy, as I said, partnerships, the situation that you've said. These people are person non grata, darling dears. They are the scum between your toes. They are the what? Back, front, neck, tabbers, darling dears. You've already told them to get out of my life. It's over. At the sides. Oh, good. Got it. Look! I just called the 12th house. Look. The 12th house is here. Listen. I tell you no lies, darling dears. And I know my craft because it's part of my life purpose. Right, base of the deck, darling dears. Somebody wants you to be vulnerable, and as I said, there's a lot of spiritual attacks. This also speaks about sex, darling dears. Be careful of what that silver-tongued devil. Get their digits. Find out about them, darling dears. Even a big cat can be charmed at this stage of the game, darling dears. You can be charmed, but we didn't say go be stupid. Charmed and stupid? No, blood. You're still getting research. This is arguments, darling dears. Somebody wants to argue with you as well. This is a lot of controversy. It's also what you'll be arguing with. What a chicken head, a chicken of the sea. This is someone that will take one thing and run with it, spin it in many different ways. I know we care nothing for what anyone says, darling dears, but good God, why give them ammunition, darling dears? You've been by yourself, balancing out your situation. Energy of Jupiter, as well as what? Capricorn, darling dears. It also speaks about your career, your status is about to take an upswing for some. Yes, it is, darling dears. Somebody's also about to travel to distant horizons. Travel could also represent the internet. This represents the internet. But there's been no true communication, not physical or talking, because there's no swords energy out at this moment in time. We've got a lot of wands energy, darling dear. So spirit is protecting you at this moment in time. The energy of the wands is Archangel Michael. Call him at any time. Something to do with 12 p.m. is significant for someone. Okay. The summer months, darling dears, is going to change your life direction. Have a look at your first, your fifth, and your ninth house, darling dears, to see how it's going to be shaping up. Yeah, you're extremely creative and motivated at this moment in time. Some of you are going into some kind of spiritual career, or you may even be doing spiritual work at this moment in time. Well, you're about to take an upswing, darling dears. You're going to be known far and wide. Remember, I told you that. Nobody knows the minute, the hour, or the time. Bernicia, Wagwan, Fist Bump, Millie de la Prida, Big Cat, Wave, Oracle 7100, catching my eye today. Yeah, what did I say? No longer going back to the dark past. And it's also a reminder, darling dears, they're going to offer you up the bull swanky, darling dears, because you have many enemies. But they're going to reveal themselves by their behaviors, darling dears. You've got something to lose. They haven't. Divine is gifting you with a new direction, a new path. Two of Wands, Aries energy being initiated. This is, look, this is like, oh my gosh. How can I put it? How many ways can I say this? without making you feel as though you're being told off again, darling dears. How can I say this? This is Emperor energy. Whenever we see Mars and Aries together, you're the baddest of them all. It also speaks about entrepreneurial shit, darling dears. So if you are speculating on a business, a spiritual business, or have a spiritual element to your business, expect it to take off, darling dears. People from the past, Knight of Cups, leave them where they are, Scorpio energy. You could also speak about as far as maybe sending the spell work at you, darling dears. Why? Because of envy, jealousy, and hate. Hate that it's happening for you, darling dears, would love to do anything to take it from you. Jealous because they can't do it, and envious because you're the baddest of them all. Remember, you are the what? You are the Lazarus cat at this stage of the game. Let me just give you a minute. Let me just give you a hot second for what you've overcome. Yes, feel that baseline, big cat. And you came through it and you're not mad. You're not barking at passing cars. You are not asked out, darling dears, selling matchsticks outside the train station. You're not doing none of that. You learn, darling dears, that your energy is important, that you have purpose. You've learned so many different things. You get your CMOS on. You understood being sedentary is a fool's game. You've learned to exercise. You hold that chair pose like a boss. You're getting your CMOS on. It's very important. 92 of the 102 nutrients you need per day. You understood the use of Celtic salt. You understand the assignment when you take time for yourself. And when someone does you wrong, darling dears, you cross them off your list. Yes! They are realizing that juice was not worth the squeeze. Yeah. So they would love for you to be vulnerable. But look, I said the face mask said 6, but there's also a hidden one, a 7th one, darling dears. A 7th one. Let's hear about this 7th one. What are they on? Do we need a new deck? I think this needs a new deck, because this is something that you don't see coming, darling dears. What's this 7th thing? Let's get another deck. This is abundance, blood. Whenever we see the 5 of Pentacles doing a forward roll, darling dears, abundance is coming to thee. Remember I told you that. And the Pentacles represent online. Somebody's health is also taking a turn around, darling dears. Maybe you're using a natural method, not pushing anybody into anything. If you need to see a doctor, go, darling dears. Everybody deserves a day out. What's falling off the back end? What's this, darling dears? Skullduggery. Somebody's going to try and have a war of words with you, darling dears, or some kind of mental. They want you to be focused on them, darling dears. Focus, maybe even try and draw you out. Sword energy could also represent the work environment. Be very careful. This could be the 7th thing, darling dears. The 7th sign, the 7th back, front, neck, tabber, darling dears. Could be in a working situation. If you're signing a contract, already saw 7th house energy, darling dears. Be careful of the fine print. It may not be to your liking. It also speaks about, could also possibly be somebody trying to do some kind of lawsuit, some kind of legal situation, darling dears. Yes, because where there's business, there's money. Tell us some more about this 7th thing. The 7th thing could also be somebody coming back to try and make amends, darling dears. With all of these reverse cards. Where are they coming back from? The crevice of the devil's balls? Where are they coming from, darling dears? This is why you've got to ask yourself, didn't I just say you're having a visitor? I know we try to turn our houses into Bermuda Triangles. They may even have the effrontery to come and knock your door. This is why you have ring cameras, blood. I told you my house is secured and surrounded. A squirrel can't get a nut in my garden without me knowing. What do you mean? You have a visitor coming, darling dears. They're coming to talk to you with the whisperings of Hannibal Lecter. Again, my hairline is itching me, blood. It's just itching me. Don't you remember the reverse friar Thunk? Listen. Calm down, Case. There's no one to check me, boo. Somebody said to me once, I'm a bit too reactive. It's like it's happening to me. Listen, we're besties. We're in it to win it, darling dears. We've been through the DNS and hi. I'm the red light, green light champion of 79. As are you, bestie, when the other flip-flop drops. What's that? Your common sense, blood? They're coming in hot, darling dears, to make amends and possibly even apologize. It'd be a lie. Didn't I say they have no real apology to offer? Whatever they gained when they tried to F you over, gave it to you without the Vaseline, darling dears. They need to beat the traffic with. Yeah, beat the traffic. Wisdom chases them, darling dears, and they run so fast. They do. They run away from wisdom. Right? Look. They celebrated whatever happened to you, darling dears, and then in some cases they fanned it, right? Because remember I said no sword energy came out before. You are the light of their life, darling dears. You are their #1 torpedo. Yeah. But they didn't know that you was a master of the light, able to transmute that energy when you turned your back. Law 16 of the 48 laws of power. When respect was not being served. Matthew 10:14. They didn't think you'd dust off your flip-flops and head out and never come back and balance out your life, darling dears, and be blessed and have purpose. And the Capricorn energy, you're finding a new level of status. Remember I told you that. What some of them did to you in private, because they're still the talking, darling dears. All of this soul energy. Rinsing old shiznai, darling dears. These bottom feeders, darling dears. These hood-looking alfalfas with yarn for hair. We've got to clarify them, darling dears. Categorize them, because their file is a see-through pamphlet. And I always tell you, bestie, nobody is going to break into an empty house. Your cup overflows, darling dears. You may think that you haven't healed, or you may think that you are in isolation. Divine always keeps his favorite closest. Why? Because Divine didn't want you to cry those soul tears no more. I told you about I did tell you about the tears. Did I tell you about? I told you about the tears. Did I tell you about the tears? Do I need to tell you again? Bestie, there's 3 types of tears that we cry. Okay? There's the tears that come from your left eye, right? There's tears that come from your right eye. The ones from your right eye is about joy, right? The basal tears that come from your left eye, those are emotive tears, darling dears. But you also have reflective tears. You know, like when you buck your toe, when you can't believe how scandalous that person was. Yeah. They made you cry tears from your left eye, blood. And everybody's going to the mirror. I'm going to wait until you ain't got time for that. And if you are crying, those tears, those reflective tears, and those what? Those left eye tears, those basal tears, darling dears. If you're crying over this person that made you have to go, almost leave the place naked, right? Was it naked and afraid? Yeah. Go to the mirror. I'll wait. Put me on pause. While you're at the mirror, look deep into your eye chakras, right? Go deep, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. And then slap the shiznai out of yourself until blood and spit or flies on the mirror. What do you mean you're crying over someone that... This is someone that cheated on you. Someone who always had a better friend than you, and everybody hated your guts. Not necessarily your guts, your eyelashes. Well, your guts and your eyelashes. Yeah. You have a 7th thing coming towards you, darling dears. From this deck, does the big cat have anything to protect themselves with? Will they be able to recognize this shiznai? All these cards fell out, but this is what touched me. You're the baddest of them all. Didn't we just talk about the Emperor energy? Don't engage, darling dears. Read the room, shorty. This is a new beginning. All the cards are falling past me onto the floor. This is a new beginning for you, darling dears. And the Hermit, as well as the Queen of Wands, a fated meeting is on the tableau, darling dears. Somebody that's on your own level, somebody who's gone through their own healing, going through a rebirth at this moment in time. And again, you get the Two of Wands, 2 different decks. You've been forewarned of this seventh thing that's coming towards you, darling dears. Circumvent it and shoo! Come through Kendrick Lamar. Posh, clap. Yeah, you can engage. You can waste your time tongue wrestling with the feeble-minded. You can do that. You can even go and get in the ground and tussle. Why? Because the swords also represents the popo. You can go to prison like R. Kelly for it if you want to. I will write to you avidly, and in every letter I will say, I did tell you, bestie. I did. I will say that. And I won't even type it. I will use a pen and paper, darling dears. And it'll be deeply ingrained into the page. Because I did tell you about the seventh thing. Okay. Right. Let's get some final messages. Then we're out of here to get great. Yeah, and they're realizing now, darling dears, that this was one contract that they should never have let go of, darling dears. The energy of the 10 is also representative of the Wheel of Fortune, fate, destiny, and good luck. This new beginning, the 10th house is also what? Your status. Have we not been talking about that? She's naive. Let's give it a quick shufty. Because time is of the essence. Don't ask me why. Stop pushing me, please, bestie. Because you know I can't take telling. Final messages as we begin this new direction, darling dears. Nothing should be angering you at this moment in time, darling dears. When they try their foolishness, you're supposed to be laughing in your mind. Put your third eye on these bitches and mitches. You have something to lose. Would you really want to go? Yes, this card did say square one. Do you want to really go back to square one? Go through the dark night of the soul as you beat yourself up, and in some cases be punching yourself in your panani or futum? Because I did tell you to investigate. Yes, there's a fated meeting, but there's also a fated meeting. Remember the seventh thing. Person, place, or thing. Don't let nothing derail your darling dears, because serendipity is your go-to move. Remember, there is no such thing as coincidence, darling dears. It's coming through with the energy of the 18. The 18 is the moon energy in tarot, darling dears. The moon energy is about fucking ease, blood. The fakeazoid frenemies. The cheating cheataras, darling dears, and it's a reminder of the bad energy and deception that's coming towards you, but it's coming towards you for a reason and a purpose. Never forget, this is your season. You are what? Lazarus cat. Use your intuition, darling dears. Divine is going to be showing you certain things, serendipity. This is a series of fortunate events, things lining up. Pay attention, bestie. On that note, I drops me mic. Todd love to my Teesprings, my Patreon, or my TikToks, where I also upload videos. Who's that? Kung Fu Panda? Hiya! Listen, I've been chopping you for some time. People are like, why is she so reactive? Jacqueline, Orenton, big here, wave. Listen, until we meet again on these tarot streets. Oh, I've missed out a bit in it. Everybody's gonna be like, in case you didn't say it. All right, stop pushing me around, bestie. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. Remember the seventh thing, darling dears. Be on the alert. Put your spiritual feelers out there. Call your ancestral team, darling dears. They cannot intervene unless you ask. But serendipity is afoot. Pay attention to the signs. And that first idea will be the truth roof. Pinkies up. Until we meet again on these tarot streets. Cat. Big cat,